Hello, welcome to a Mayor Brown MicroTalk. I'm Larry Cunningham, Special Counsel in Mayor Brown's Public Companies Capital Markets Group, specializing in corporate governance. We're delighted to have with us today Henrique Canarim, who is at the Leidos company, where he is Vice President and Senior Assistant General Counsel, as well as Assistant Corporate Secretary. Henrique, welcome to the MicroTalk.
And thanks for having me, Larry. I'm glad to be here.
Historically, shareholders have sat with managers, but in the recent past, they've indicated an appetite for meeting with directors. What's your read, Henrique? Do you see it as an increasing practice?
It has risen over time, and I think our directors overall appreciate the opportunity to connect directly with these firms. It does give a really good insight into the board's view on particular topics. So as you said, it's nice to hear from management, but it does give additional color and it ensures that the shareholder has a window into the board's oversight role. So yeah, certainly we've seen more of that, and it's important to be prepared for this type of request.
And so there seem to be some advantages in terms of exchanging views. Are there any other advantages? What else would motivate a company and a board to want to participate in shareholder engagement?
Yeah, I think, as I said, there's candid conversation, getting to direct views, and it is an important stakeholder. Large shareholders in particular are an important stakeholder. So the directors will have direct access, direct view of comments made by the stewardship team or by investment manager, and are able to make better, more informed decisions with that feedback. So we try as much as we can to, as part of the regular management shareholder engagement process, to collect that feedback and give that to our directors periodically. And we think that's an important part of our role in supporting the board of directors. But there is the ability of having that direct, candid conversation. I also think that can be advantageous if there are special events during the company's life where it's been particularly beneficial to hear directly from the directors or have that direct connection.
On that point about special events, what kind of coordination do you structure? What kind of prep do you give the directors?
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. And it's important to have those guardrails in place. So usually, at least for our company, but I know many others do that, we have what we call an on-season and off-season engagement. So on-season, after we file the proxy statement, usually more tied to topics that are covered in the proxy disclosures, and then off-season, usually in the fall, to talk about any other topic that's of interest. So usually our investor relations team works very closely with the governance office and legal department to establish those connections. And if there are particular topics that the shareholder is interested in discussing, we'll certainly take that into account and tailor our presentation to meet those expectations. But we are generally ready to speak about anything else. So for example, sustainability, ESG practices, human capital management, and so on. And before actually engaging with the shareholder, we want to make sure that everyone on the call is well versed on what the shareholders' policies are, and if they're available online, or just understanding what that shareholder's posture has been, so we have relevant information to give as part of that conversation.
That's an excellent point, because not all shareholders have identical appetite. How do you educate yourself and the directors on the particular shareholder appetite, what they really want to talk about?
Yeah, and you also want to make sure that you're being responsive. So if there's a clear set of expectations and out, you want to make sure that you're not just talking, but also listening. So if there's particular things that the shareholder wants to share with us, we have to take that into account and provide that feedback to the board so they can act based on the information that is received. It should be fluid. It should be a collaborative conversation, and as I said, it's an ongoing process too. So it doesn't mean that because we didn't cover one particular issue in one call that we couldn't continue that conversation. I think it's more about creating the habit of having continuous engagement more than anything else.
Sounds very productive, Henrique. Does anything about it give you heartburn? Are there some things that worry you about the process?
It's just important to be prepared. I think it's more about the pre-work, that can be quite time consuming at times, but you get to a good cadence and a good rhythm. And as with everything shareholder related, it's a team sport. So you want to make sure that you have your internal SMEs, providing either they are on the phone, on the call as relevant, or they're providing the right information. So for instance, if a shareholder wants to talk about executive compensation program, perhaps your head of compensation should be in the room to answer specific questions, or your head of sustainability, or your CFO, or anyone else. So I think having the preparation work is important, to also have the right internal team ready if the shareholder wants to do a deep dive on anything in particular. And then obviously doing the appropriate guardrails and training, Reg FD compliance, making sure that you're only disclosing what's appropriate in the circumstances, and understanding the rules of engagement overall.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like your board is in very good shape with you. That concludes our MicroTalk. We've enjoyed chatting with Henrique Canarim. Thank you, Henrique. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.